Good evening, race fans, and welcome to round number 5 of the Mtn Dew Modified Tour, proudly presented to you by Tagare Property Management. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you tonight's action in 1080p 60 frames a second after a short hiatus from last week and a wonderful broadcast from my partner, James East. I am back in the booth ready to bring you tonight's action for the Mtn Dew Modified Tour here once again, and we are here at Sobo, South Boston Speedway. A very, very short track here, and from what I can already tell you folks, it is going to be an exciting race from start to finish, and I am not exactly certain who is going to fully survive, and we do have dual features tonight. I believe the first one will be 30 laps, and the final duel will be 50 laps, if I am not mistaken. We also will not have any spare tires for the drivers here tonight, as indicated in the information displayed on your screen currently. But we are wrapping up the drivers' practice session here in just a few moments, and we will get started here very, very shortly. To start things off, we are going to go right into qualifying. And after last week, Brett Hahn taking home the win will actually be taking things from the back of the field. The shotgun rule here at ASRC being put into effect for this race. So Brett Hahn will have to start at the tail end of, I believe, the first feature, the first dual feature, if I am not mistaken. Now, as drivers begin to make their way around the track for their first few qualifying laps, we are going to have a look on board with Nick Fleury in the number 25 machine as he currently makes his way around the track with only one lap left to go before he wraps up his qualifying. Very short times that we have to put down here. Not a whole lot of room on this track, not a whole lot of distance, just under a half a mile track, 0.37 miles to be specific. And these guys are able to get their way just to about almost 115, 120 miles an hour on the faster side for some of these guys. But overall, there is not going to be a whole lot of room for really getting extremely fast here. So these drivers are going to be relying on consistency and staying as smooth as possible and making sure that they are hitting their marks every single time. And as Al Smith Jr. spins out, going out of turn 2. Looking here at James Ledford in the 975 machine, that nice blue, as he actually wraps up his time at the moment. Looking at the timing tower, we can actually see where everyone is placing currently as they stand, and Ryan Libby seems to be dominating the field with an impressive 14.41, and Brett Hahn actually tying with the same exact time as it would seem. Now, according to my timing, the seconds are off just by a marginal 0.01 second. So not much of a difference there between Libby and Hahn, but Al Smith, Andrew Payne, Ron Hart, Charles Darling, all of these drivers are within tenths of each other. As you can tell, a lot of this field is going to be the same way, and I have a feeling that might be cause for some concern for some of these drivers, and given how small this track is, and really there's not a whole lot of room for the amount of drivers that we have here tonight. Now, I would say this is a moderate-sized field, so things should be shaping up to be fairly exciting here for everyone watching at home tonight. So we're watching Nick Fleury actually take a couple laps around. It looks like he's just taking some practice laps or just cruising. Enjoying himself nonetheless. That is going to be essentially all of our drivers have qualified, and there is only just a minute left to go before we wrap things up here and head on into our first dual feature for round number 5 here at South Boston Speedway for the Mtn Dew Modified Tour here with American Sim Racing Club. And proudly presented to you by Tagare Property Management. Would like to give them a thank you and a shout out for being the sponsor for this season and for this series. It is great being here and watching all of these guys do what they do best. As all the drivers here in American Sim Racing Club have shown their talents day in and day out. As that is going to be the end of our qualifying here. Things are going to wrap up and drivers are going to get themselves prepared and ready to go. Lined up on the grid and ready to start things off here for today. And looking at the grid, speaking of which, John Sinu starting out in first place with Billy Thomas. Starting on the outside line on the first row, Michael Witt in third place with James Ledford in fourth. Rounding out the second row, Steve Seagars and Nick Fleury in fifth and sixth respectively. Charles Darling in seventh, Ron Hart in eighth place. Andrew Payne in ninth, Al Smith Jr. in 10th. Brett Hahn in 11th place. Ryan Libby in 12th. And after that, we have David Payton in 13th, Andrew Jessen in 14th, Brad Prenger in 15th, John Kane starting in 16th, Eric Hahn in 17th, Skip Gandy in 18th, Eric Papanow in 19th, Christopher Campbell in 20th, John DeMeester in 21st, Leo Lortz in 22nd, and Michael Sturgill going to be in 23rd, technically. Standard Tallarico is not technically supposed to be showing up in our starting grid here, but just due to how things work here with the live timing, that was how things worked out. But we are going to get ready to go here and ready to go for our first dual feature of the night. 30 laps here around Sobo with rough 23 drivers here on the track, and just looking at them there, absolutely menacing looking field. I'm excited to get these wheels going and get the action started for everyone here tonight. I hope everyone is excited at home and is ready to get this action started here as well, as I know that I most certainly am. Looking up here over the audience down at the field, you can see how deep this field is tonight, and things are going to be exciting as we get rolling behind the pace car for the first time. Let these drivers get ready to go and rock and roll for the very first time here at South Boston Speedway for round number 5. And it looks like we already have a driver coming down pit road. Brett Hahn going to be making his way down into that pit road. For what reason, I am not exactly sure, but it looks like that was not intentional. He's going to actually find himself back to where he properly should be, given that he does have the shotgun rule being put into effect for that 71 machine, so he does have to start at the back of the grid for tonight. Now, Billy Thomas and John Sinu going to be duking it out here side by side here for the first opening lap here at Sobo as we come out of turn 4. We still have, I believe, one more lap to go before that pace car finds its way down into pit road, and we let these cars go for the very first time. We are going to be keeping our eye on a lot of these drivers here, because I know in the past that we've seen the action unfold very, very quickly with these guys, and it does not take very much at all for the action to start. And here we go. We are green flag for the first time. John Sinew, Billy Thomas going to be duking it out seemingly side by side here. And we have a driver going sideways. That's going to be Michael Witt coming down in the number 26 machine, finding himself down on pit road. Not a great start there for the 26 of Michael Witt. There's not going to be a caution coming from it, so that's a good thing for the rest of the field here, but not for Michael Witt. That is definitely going to cost Michael probably the first dual feature here for tonight. But in the case of the 86 of John Sinew, that is not going to be the case here, as John is now pulling away from the number 9 of Billy Thomas, who's in second place currently. About almost a second gap now. If John is able to hold on to this and keep consistent. Now you can see there, if you're watching on your screen very closely, these cars are not all that stable here on this track. They're wanting to slide just a little bit. You can even see, right as I say it, the number 9 of Billy Thomas just gets into the wall. Keeps it together though, but now he's going to have the number 93 of Andrew Payne on his bumper at this time, and Andrew Payne looking down on the inside, going out of turn 2, coming into turn 3. He's going to try it again, but it doesn't have enough room, enough speed right at this point in time. But Billy Thomas said that's going to cost him just a little bit, having hit that wall. But as I was saying, and we have cars crashing. We have cars crashing all over the place right now. Christopher Campbell looks like involved in this incident here. Let's take a quick look and see exactly what happens here to the number 51 we're watching here. You can see on the outside of the number 20 of Skip Gandy. Skip there checking up. Everything looks relatively calm. And the 51, just the back end seems to get loose there for just a second. And I'm not exactly certain. And there he goes, right into Brett Hahn and into the top wall, colliding with a few other drivers in the process. So that's gonna come at a cost. But our first caution here for the Mountain Dew Modified Tour. And excuse me, folks, you'll have to give me just a moment. Pace car back into pit road, and we are green, and cars are already colliding into one another once again, and we have a car sideways. That's going to be the 88 going absolutely sideways, not able to hold on, not able to find any grip on the track to keep with it. That's going to be Charles Darling going for an absolute ride here at the very start of this restart here, throwing the second caution out for the day. Now let's back things up here and see if we can find exactly what happened here in this restart. So a little bit of bumping from the back of the field here that we can see. Looks like Charles tried to check up there. Everyone else doing the same exact thing. And with just how close everyone is, there's not a lot of time to react, and your brakes aren't always going to be enough. And there you see it, the number 96. It would look like just barely taps that rear driver's side of Charles Darling, sending him sideways and down into the rest of the field. But Charles Darling doing a great job recovering and making sure that he didn't cause more damage than he could have. That was a very good work there from Charles, keeping things together and not letting that turn into something that could have been much worse. But we are racing here once again, folks. So we were a little busy looking at that replay, figuring out what exactly caused it to begin with. 21 laps left to go here. John Sinu has seemingly taken himself back into the lead, but now he's got a fight with the number 93 of Andrew Payne getting on the bumper of the 86, almost sending him sideways. We have drivers going side by side. Andrew Payne taking that bottom line, coming out of turn 4. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? Excuse me, that's actually turn 2 that we're coming down. I was right the first time. Man, I hate when I doubt myself. Anyway, right now, Andrew Payne, Ron Hart are both duking it out side by side. You can see Ron Hart down low in that white, green, and black machine. Ron Hart doing everything he can in that 051, trying to keep Andrew Payne from getting away from him. But Andrew Payne also doing an excellent job keeping up the defense. And really just putting on the pressure here, trying to stay on the attack, not letting Ron Hart get too far away from him. There you can see Andrew Payne doing the smart thing, trying to switch around. Let Ron Hart get on the outside. Let him be in the worst position, because it seems, just from watching these guys make their way around the track tonight, it looks like that bottom line is going to be your preferred line. That's where you're going to be the most successful. And I think a lot of these guys know that, and they're going to want to really apply that and want to utilize that here tonight. Especially if you want to try and make overtakes. That's going to be incredibly important here. But Andrew Payne, Ron Hart, both of these guys did exactly that. They were trying to find a line that works for them, and Ron Hart just happened to be in the better spot. Andrew Payne now is going to have to do the same thing here. 14 laps left to go. He's got time. Will he be able to make that overtake and retake that first place position? That remains to be seen, but he seems to be very eager to do so. He has not let Ron Hart get too far away from him. And the nice thing about these short track races is it's not so much about speed, it's more how you use the track and how you apply your car to the track. When you're getting out of a turn and you're trying to get on that throttle, if you're too aggressive on it, you find yourself spinning out, as we've already seen a few guys do here tonight. And as I'm sure if you were watching before the broadcast started, you've seen during practice some of the guys slipping and sliding all the way around the track. That's going to happen if you're just not confident on this track, and or just a lot of short tracks in general. These are very, very tricky, and that definitely takes a lot of skill to be good at and to be effective on every single track that you go to. And not every track is the same, as much as people would like to argue that they are the same. But looking back at looking a little further back here at the back of the field, looking at Steven Seagars in the 973 machine, currently in 4th place, not necessarily on the attack of anyone, but he has found himself right smack dab in the middle between a nice line of cars, and these guys are all now kind of seemingly just staying in this single formation line, not really trying to chance any sort of overtakes at this point in time. You can see the difference in speed as well. We can actually take a moment here to ride on board with Nick Fleury in the 25, just behind Steven Seagars. Nick in 5th place currently. Just to give you guys an idea of how These guys are putting the power down. You can hear the input of the car on the throttle. Nick Fleury getting a little loose there as well. Just a moment, did a great job recovering, keeping it together. And being able to identify when you're starting to slide and the car is starting to get away from you, being able to identify that as early as possible as a driver is, I would say, one of the most beneficial skills to have when in racing. It's very, very helpful to know and be able to feel when the car is starting to slide, and being able to know what to do to either work with it or correct it, one or the other, depending on what kind of driver that you are. But everyone here doing absolutely fantastic work here tonight as the checker flag has flown. And Ron Hart seemingly going to take home the win here for today. Andrew Payne and John Sinu taking home the win here. And we are going to have our first heat results on your screen as we have a little bit of a warm-up here. Ron Hart taking home first place, Andrew Payne in second, with John Sinu in the third, Steve Seagars in fourth, Nick Fleury in fifth place. All of these guys have done a fantastic job. Now, let's see if we can get a very quick word with Mr. Ron Hart, our winner for today, and see what his thoughts were on the first dual feature of the night. Ron, sir, do you have a read?
Yeah, I got a copy. You hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. Ron, it was looking very, very interesting out on track tonight. This definitely seems like it's a little bit more challenging of a track than what a lot of guys might be used to. Might be wrong in saying that. However, we've definitely seen the field switch up quite a bit here, and even just this first dual feature tonight, and that was only 30 laps. Going into the second dual feature of tonight, what are your thoughts, and what are you kind of expecting for that second race?
Yeah, it goes by fast here. It's a short little place, and starting 8th with only 30 laps to get to the front, had to be aggressive, and that was a really fun race there with Andrew and running side by side for that many laps and not making any hard contact. But feels good to get a win in one of these cars. Never been that fast in the mod, so just happy to get a victory in it.
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. You were looking very fantastic out there as well. You were putting the pressure on Andrew Payne there for quite some time, getting down on his inside there, not letting him get away from you. And I got to say, that seemed to play out in your favor. Now, I got to ask you, speaking of lines here, it seems like that bottom line is going to be the preferred way to get around the track here. Do you think it would be possible to make overtakes in that middle to outer line, or what are you thinking is going to be the place where you need to be tonight?
Oh man, when you're out front, you definitely got to run the bottom. It's tough to pass here, especially as the tires get old and get hot. So I knew it was going to be important to make the passes early. But you can definitely move up once you get rolling and hold a guy off. We'll see how the track goes here for 60 laps. But for 30 laps, the bottom was definitely a place to be.
Awesome. Well, Ron, I don't want to hold you up here too much. I want to let you get back and have a little bit more practice here before we get things started here. I wanted to thank you for coming out here and talking with me in the booth. Before I let you go here, Ron, and get started here, is there anyone watching or at home that you want to give a shout out to before you head back out?
Yeah, I think my parents are watching tonight. They like to watch the sim races, so happy to get a win with them watching. So.
Absolutely, Ron. Congratulations on first place. Hopefully, we'll be able to have a similar conversation after the second dual feature.
Thanks, Ben.
Absolutely, Ron. Have a good one. Alrighty, folks. That is Ron Hart in the 051 taking home the win for the first dual feature here tonight for round number 5 here at Sobo for the Mtn Dew Modified Tour, proudly presented to you by Tagare Property Management. We are going to take a very short commercial break here while these drivers wrap up their warm-up for the second dual feature. We'll be right back with the action. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. unless you need something to drink or something to snack on, because there's going to be a lot of action here, folks. Stay tuned. We will be right back with more right after this message.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.
All right, and welcome back, folks. The warm-up has finished, and we are going to get started here once again. And our grid here for the second dual feature of tonight. Ron Hart starting out in first place was Andrew Payne on the outside. In the first row, John Sinu. In third place was Steve Seagars. In fourth place, in the second row, Nick Fleury. In fifth place, with Brad Prenger in sixth. Rounding out the third row, Ryan Libby in seventh. Eric Papanow in eighth place. Brett Hahn in ninth. Andrew Jessen in 10th place. Skip Gandy in 11th. James Ledford in 12th place. Billy Thomas in 13th. Eric Hahn in 14th. Leo Lortz in 15th. David Payton in 16th. John DeMeester in 17th. Al Smith Jr. in 18th. John Kane in 19th, Charles Darling in 20th, Christopher Campbell in Michael Witt in 21st, Christopher Campbell in 22nd, and Michael Sturkle in 23rd. That is going to be our starting grid here for the second dual feature, and we are going to have 60 laps. I have been mistaken. For some reason, I had 50 in my mind, but that is all right. We are going to have 10 extra laps to enjoy here with the American Sim Racing Club for the Mtn Dew Modified Tour. And it's going to be another exciting start to the race here once again. Drivers make their way around with the pace car, following it around, making sure they're all ready to go. You can see that Andrew Payne is ready to go, and I think the rest of this field is ready to go. As we come down the backstretch for the last time with the pace car, and we get ready, Ron Hart is going to have his first opportunity to lead this race from the start. And there he goes, right off the rip, not letting a single moment pass by before he gets on that loud pedal. Ron Hart already getting away from this field as quickly as he possibly can. He's developed almost a half a second between himself and Andrew Payne. Andrew Payne's going to be in trouble now as he has Nick Fleury coming down on his inside. He's able to get away from Nick Fleury. Now Nick is going to be chasing down the 93 of Andrew Payne now. we're going to keep an eye with that and see what happens there. But checking in with Brett Hahn in the number 71 machine, who started 3 positions higher from where he is now, currently 6th place. He's doing some fantastic work right now, just trying to chip his way through the field. We already have a car crashing. James Ledford involved in this one. Let's back things up here for just a second and see exactly what happens here with James Ledford in the 975 machine. Let's take things up here to our Team Goon Squad blimp that arrived at Sobo earlier today to broadcast this event. Now we're going to get a little bit of a better view here at exactly what happens as we patiently wait to see it. And there it is. It looks like the 108 of Leo Lortz just barely taps the rear end of James Ledford, sending him sideways. That's going to throw our first caution here for the second dual feature of tonight. Racing once again as the pace car actually snuck its way into pit road. Ron Hart now getting away from the field very quickly. Once again, very consistent on those restarts, doing great work, trying to keep that consistency going and just trying to keep with it as much as he possibly can. Watching Andrew Payne here in that number 93, who's trying to stay on the bumper of that 051. Doing great work doing that so far. If he can keep with it, keep that pace, he might be able to make an overtake happen here. But right now, things are developing very, very quickly. You just saw Steven. Oh, and we just saw a car dive down onto the bottom row. A lot of things happening here all at once here on this track, and it is very, very difficult to keep up with as we already have more cars crashing. Eric Hahn involved in this one. There you saw it. One of the drivers getting down onto the bottom wall. The 711 of Eric Hahn. Oh no. David Payton involved in that one as well. A lot of other drivers involved in that incident there. That is going to hurt a lot of these drivers here tonight. As you can see there, a driver in pit road smoking away as that engine has been severely damaged. We are going to try and start things off here once again with the second caution, lap 8 of 60. These laps tick away extremely fast, so these drivers are... We're going to really see this race kind of blink away before their eyes. Well, that's also going to be a challenge for anyone that wants to take away some points for tonight, for the championship. Well, right now, Ron Hart, Andrew Payne, and Nick Fleury are all looking quite well at this moment, I would have to say. Now, the action seems to be forming kind of around the middle to the rear of the field, and that's starting to slim the field out, as you can already tell just by that shot there. Field coming down this front stretch. going to make our way through turn 3 and come out of turn 4. The pace car dropping down into pit road, and the green flag is flying once again here at Sobo. And Ron Hart once again on that restart, doing it every single time, and we already have more cars crashing here with Michael Witt and Leo Lortz both involved in this incident here. Let's take a look right off the rip. Michael Witt. Oh, man. He's not able to find the room. Not able to find the space to avoid that contact. That's going to throw out our second caution here or third caution, excuse me, for the second dual feature here. Lap 9 of 60. And I have a feeling that what's going to end up happening here is the field is going to end up weeding itself out until there's just a significantly less number of cars than what we started with at the beginning of the race. But right now, numbers are still looking good. Just a lot of drivers finding themselves involved in some pretty serious wrecks that have ultimately cost a lot of the field. Getting ready to go here once again. Pace car dropping down into pit road. The green flag has flown. Ron Hart with that beautiful restart once again, and Andrew Payne staying on that bumper as close as he possibly can. Really, it's a difficult thing, especially when Ron is having those excellent restarts every single time. It's definitely a challenge. But speaking of challenges, we have Brett Hahn and Nick Fleury duking it out for third place. Brett Hahn able to stick it out around the 25 of Nick Fleury down on the outside and coming across the finish line. Lap 11 of 60. Brett Hahn on the hunt. He is in the top 3 now. He only has 2 more drivers left to pick away at. Andrew Payne and Ron Hart being those 2, and I have a feeling he might be able to do it. There is plenty of time left here, but as Ron Hart was saying earlier in our interview, he was saying that it is quite difficult to make any overtakes at this track. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out and if that's going to actually remain true here. So we're going to pay attention here. We're going to see exactly what happens. But a lot of these guys here starting to get a little squirrely here. Ryan Libby in the number 82 machine on the outside of Steven Cigars at this moment. Oh man, things are getting spicy between these two. Ryan Libby still on that outside. He's just trying everything he can in his power to put the pressure on Steve, and Steve is just not having it. Looks like Ryan Libby actually just vanished from the face of the earth, so it would seem. But Steve Cigars, excuse me if I'm saying that incorrectly, Steve. In that 973, now not having to deal with that car on his outside, I'm sure he's probably feeling just a little bit better now, as that competition is no longer there for him. But looking back at Nick Fleury in 4th place, he's kind of found himself in a little bit of a gap between the top 3 and the rest of the field behind him. He's kind of just comfortable there, so it would seem. But again, you don't want to be put in that position where you're just kind of stuck there in the same spot, not able to catch up, or worst case scenario, you're just getting caught up to, and even worse, getting passed. That is definitely not ideal, as we have a car going onto the wall there for just a moment. I am not exactly sure who that was. I want to say that might have been Mr. Brad Prenger in the 151 from just a quick glance, but I can't say for certain, so excuse me, Brad, if I'm just calling you out here for no certain reason. But Brad's still able to keep it together, though, even after just getting on that wall there for just a smidgen of a second. And that just goes to show how difficult this track can be. even on these exits of these turns, it doesn't exactly mean that you are going to be safe. You have to make sure that you can keep this car as stable as possible, and it is not an easy thing to do. It's definitely easier said than done, but these guys make it look easy, and that is definitely for certain. But we're going to ride on board here actually for just a moment with Brad, just to have a look at what he's doing with that 151 machine as he puts the pressure on the 026 Andrew Jessen, who's currently in 7th place in front of Brad in lap 25 of 60. As I was saying, there's still time to make attacks and to really push the field and try and make something happen. But only time is going to tell if anyone's going to really capitalize on that and try and make advantage. Really push themselves to the limit, really try and challenge themselves and see what they can do here. But just listening to the throttle input of Brad Prenger here in the 151. You can even, and as he makes contact just barely with the 26 of Andrew Jessen, just for a moment, doesn't get him sideways, just gives him a little bit of a love tap. But you can even hear just barely, if you listen closely, the tires sliding around just ever so slightly. And that is another key bit of information that sim racers will use to give them an idea that their car is sliding. Because the one thing that you can't do in sim racing, you can't feel inertia. You can't feel the movement of the car. That is one. You can't feel the G-force of the car. That is something that is wildly useful human input that is just not exactly possible in the world of sim racing. So you have to rely on other means of getting that information. So a lot of these guys have put in a lot of practice with these cars and know what to listen for. But everyone here doing a fantastic job, and right now, we had a car riding the wall there for just a moment. Not sure who that was. I might have been Steve Cigars in that 973. But checking back in here with the top 3, Brett Hahn cracked his way into 2nd place, able to work his way around Andrew Payne, and now he is getting closer and closer to the 051 of Ron Hart. And we're actually going to start seeing some lap traffic start to get involved here as well. So things are going to be quite interesting for a lot of these guys here. And even looking just a little bit further back, it seems like we have some battles potentially forming just a little bit further back in the field. Looking at Brad Prenger in the 151 as he gets on that wall once again. Still keeps it together. It's always fun to watch those cars ride up on that wall like that. It's definitely very entertaining to see that happen. But these guys are doing a great job of keeping it together and not letting that turn into a race incident and have a caution fly because of it. Because we actually have some battles forming between these guys. It looks like Brad Prenger, who is trying to catch up to Charles Darling at this point, was able to get around Andrew Jessen, and Andrew now wanting to take that position back, trying to work his way back through the field. And Nick Fleury, on the other hand, at the moment, still in 4th place from when we checked in with him last time around. Now he's got this 973 of Steven Cigars on his tail. And Steve is looking very consistent as well with his line work. I know that these tires are probably getting very hot at this point in time, so these cars are probably wanting to slide around a lot more than usual. There he goes, the 973. Steve touching the bumper of Nick Fleury for just a second. Nick Fleury not even fazed by it, keeping racing going and letting everything happen. Doing a great job in that 25 machine. But Steve, absolutely on a mission here, just trying to get as close as he can to Nick Fleury. Riding on board with Steve currently in the 973, 18 laps left to go. Will Steve be able to work his way past 5th place, be able to take home potentially P4 or even a P3? With 17 laps left to go, anything is still possible. He just has to get around the 25 of Nick Fleury, and that is going to be quite the challenge. And speaking of challenges, Ron Hart has been doing exactly the same thing this entire time, having led this second dual feature this entire time practically, if I'm not mistaken. This actually this entire time. Brett Hahn, having worked his way up 7 positions from where he started in this second dual feature. And now, bear in mind, he also had to work his way through the field in the first dual feature to place himself where he did for the second. Now, Brett is, I would say at this point, almost known for doing things like that, working through the field as quickly as possible and placing himself at the top of the field. That is something Brett Hahn is very used to and very talented at doing, but now he's got other challengers who are also just as solid of competing at his level, especially in these vehicles. It is great to see these battles forming between all of these drivers, and 11 laps to go, and we still have drivers. Oh, and here we go. Brett Hahn dropping down low, coming down turn 4, coming out onto the front stretch. He touches Ron Hart for just a moment. Brett Hahn still sticking with it, coming out of turn 2. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? He's not able to. He's going to try the attack again here. Andrew Payne and Nick Fleury also going to be side by side here. 10 laps left to go. It's going to be a very quick and very short shootout here for the finish. And Ron Hart is definitely going to be feeling that pressure as Brett Hahn is starting to push Ron farther and farther away from that low line. And as we were talking about earlier with Ron Hart, he was saying that that low line is where you want to be. That is exactly the place that you want to be. Ron Hart, he's trying his best to defend it. He's trying to stay there as much as possible. Brett Hahn trying everything in his power to squeeze his way in there and push Ron Hart out of the way. But now we can start to see Ron starting to get away from him just a little bit. 7 laps left to go. These guys are going to be pushing pedal to the metal at least as much as they respectively can without spinning the car out. But these guys are absolutely going to be battling here in these final few laps, and it's going to be absolutely exciting riding on board here with Brett Hahn in the 71 machine. Just to give everyone a better idea of this battle from the driver's perspective, you can see Brett Hahn trying to get down low, trying to get in the inside of that 5-1 of Ron Hart. Not quite going to be able to. Ron doing a great job not giving Brett Hahn any room to get down on his inside. Brett Hahn going a little bit wide there. I don't think he intended to do that. 4 laps left to go here. Is Ron Hart going to be able to take home the win for tonight for the second dual feature of the night and be able to take home a back-to-back win for round number 5 here at Sobo for the Mountain Dew Modified Tour, proudly presented to you by Tagare Property Management. Folks, 2 laps left to go here. Brett Hahn still trying to get as close as he can to the 5-1 of Ron Hart, but it's not going to be enough. The white flag is flying. And folks, there goes the checkered flag. Ron Hart coming across the finish line for first place once again for the second time tonight. Brett Hahn in second place and Nick Fleury taking it home for third. Folks, what an absolutely thrilling race here tonight. taking a look at the post-race results, just so everyone can have a look at those, get an idea of where your favorite driver has placed. Ron Hart taking home first, Brett Hahn in second, Nick Fleury in third, Andrew Payne in fourth, and Steven Cigars in fifth. Rounding out your top 5 here tonight. And we are going to get ready for our first round of driver post-race interviews here tonight, starting off with Mr. Nick Fleury. Nick, sir, do you have a read?
I do.
Nick, you had quite the race here tonight in both the second, or in the first dual feature, as well in the second. You were up there in the top 5 for the most part, the majority of the race, and it seemed like you had it gunning for at least the top 3, and here you are having a chat with me here tonight. And gotta say, Nick, it definitely seemed like it was a hard-fought battle here in the second dual feature tonight. What are your thoughts on tonight's race?
Yeah, it was a hard-fought battle, and I tell you, I saved my tires perfectly, although I could have had about 20 more laps, and my tires would have been better than the leaders in front of me, but I couldn't be happier about how that went, and it was a lot of fun to race these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like a lot of fun out there on track. We definitely saw a lot of incidents that were attributed to just how this track is. It's a little slippery. It's very short and definitely not the easiest, especially with the amount of drivers that we had on track. So everyone doing a great job, though, keeping it together. And Nick, you especially taking home third place tonight for the second dual feature. I gotta hand it to you, man. You did great. Now, I gotta ask you one final question. Being that this is round number 5, we're starting to get closer and closer to that halfway point in the season. What are you kind of thinking here for the rest of the season? And what are your kind of thoughts? Are you planning to continue to show up and try and get top 3s, or are you just here to have fun and see what happens?
Oh, I'm here to have fun and just finish as high as I can, but don't worry about points and things like that. You just try to finish races, stay clean, and the points come and take care of themselves.
Absolutely, Nick. Well, before I let you go here tonight, Nick, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home that you want to give a shout out to or thank before you head out?
Absolutely. First and foremost, my Lord and Savior. Second, my wife. She is so fantastic and lets me do so much. So I really appreciate her. Then I've got my sponsors out here. I have J & Go Home Improvements, CPM Incorporated, Mike's Garage. They do a lot to help keep me running, and I really appreciate all those guys.
Absolutely, Nick. Well, congratulations on your third place finish for the dual feature tonight, or the second dual feature tonight. And thank you for coming out here and chatting with me in the booth, and I look forward to seeing you in future races, and hopefully we can have some similar conversations here again.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Nick. You have a great night. All right, folks, that's Nick Fleury, our third place finisher for the second dual feature here tonight in the 25 machine. Up next, Brett Hahn, our previous race week winner in the number 71. Up next for second place. Brett Hahn, sir, can you read me?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Brett, you took home second place here tonight after a very, very long fought way, working your way up through the field up into the top 3. Now, you were gunning for first, and I could tell that 71 was itching to get into first place, but Ron Hart doing absolutely fantastic work, putting up the defense. What do you think is going to develop here between the 71 and the 51, Brett? And do you think there's going to be some fighting battles here throughout the season, or do you think it's just a fluke?
Oh yeah, I love battling with that 51 car, Ron Hart. Me and him put on some awesome battles. I think even last season and the season before, every time we're out on track and we're side by side, it's always a good battle to put on the camera for a few laps. And yeah, I always look forward to battling him. We all throw it at as much as we can at it. We throw the kitchen sink at it when we're side by side, not giving an inch. I know we bang Nerf bars, I think almost every straightaway there, and coming in the corners, I was just a little too driving in a little too deep, but for sure couldn't get the run off with this setup on the bottom. So I knew I would have to get to his inside and hope he made a mistake, and Ron never did, so a well-deserved win for that 51 car.
Yeah, it was definitely a edge of the seat moment for myself here in the booth watching you guys battle it out there the final few laps. Now, Brett Hahn, you are a very talented driver, and we all know this. I have to say, Brett, having worked your way through the field like that and taken home second place, now that you don't have to worry about going into next week and or into the next race rather, and not having to worry about being the lucky or the shotgun driver, what are your expectations for the next race, and how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, Mason, it would be nice to not start at the back. I told myself if I could get the shotgun win at South Boston, I don't think there would be much bigger accomplishment here at ASRC. We came up one spot short. We definitely gave it our all. I mean, I'm sweating my butt off even in that future race, starting ninth and going up through those tough cars. And there was a challenge in itself. And then to even get to Ron's bumper and then trying for a pass, it was just shows what kind of drive the 71 car has in it. But yeah, Mason over here. Yeah, I'm sweating bullets over here. Got the adrenaline pumping. I haven't focused this hard in a while, Mason, in an iRacing race, and definitely laid it all out there. And yeah, I look forward to next week not having to start in the back. As much as I love passing cars, Mason, it's one of my favorite things to do is set cars up and make a pass on them in a corner. So, but definitely looking forward to starting out front, and hopefully we can finish that one spot better.
Absolutely, Brett. Yeah, it was thrilling to watch you guys battle it out there. And I got to say, it definitely looked like it was challenging here at Sobo tonight. But Brett Hahn, before I let you go here tonight and celebrate second place, is there anyone at home, anyone watching the broadcast that you want to give a shout out to or thank before you head out?
Yeah, of course. First and foremost, got to thank you, Mason, in the booth. Glad to have you back this week. It's always great rewatching these. Got to thank Team Goon Squad and everyone over at that team. Got to thank some sponsors on the car. We got QuickTime Motorsports Media, Broaster Chicken, Turn 3 Racing Network. Be sure to check them out as well on some off nights. Always some great stuff out of both broadcasting groups. Of course, my dad out here in the field, Eric Hahn, got to give a shout out to him. I know a tough break here tonight, get involved in that big one. So a heartbreak for that. Got to thank Nick Fleury out here finishing in the podium as well. Of course, everyone at ASRC, all the competitors. Ron Hart, awesome battle. Look forward to rewatching that on the broadcast. And, of course, my grandma watching at home. Hi, Grammy. Got to thank all the other Brett the Jet fans tuning on in, and be sure to keep on watching as we'll continue to try and hold this points lead. Mason will crack open a cold one here.
Absolutely, Brett. Thank you for coming up here and chatting with me in the booth. Brett, congratulations on second place, and hopefully next week we can see that 71 machine take home a win.
Yep, hopefully, Mason. That's always the plan. At least talking to you, and we've done that every week in the 5 weeks so far, and hopefully we can keep on clicking off them wins. So I would say just flew by you.
Absolutely, Brett. Well, enjoy one for me, and have a great night.
All right, will do.
Alrighty, folks, that was Brett the Jet Hahn in the 71 machine out of the boot, taking home second place for the second dual feature tonight for round number 5. And last but certainly not least, a guy that we have already spoken to once tonight, Ron Hart in the 51, taking home first place once again, a back-to-back win. Ron Hart, sir, can you read me?
Yeah, I got you.
Ron, you have taken home the win back-to-back here for round number 5. How are you feeling right now, having fought off the entire field, especially in those last few laps? If I was you, I would be sweating right now.
Man, if I showed in the score sheet starting from the pole and leading 60 laps, like it was easy, but it was anything but for sure. It was a lot of fun tonight. Racing with Andrew and Brett is always enjoyable. You know, you're going to get some clean racing, a little bumping and banging, but nothing serious, and just happy to hold them off. They were definitely a little better than I was, but have a lot of experience in the sim racing and the real racing, I guess, trying to make it wide when you're out front with maybe not the fastest car, and definitely had to use all that experience tonight to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. When Brett Hahn was challenging you there in those final few laps, he was trying to get down on that inside, and as we were talking about earlier in the broadcast, Ron, you mentioned yourself that bottom line is where you want to be, and I was getting a little worried for you there for a second that if he was able to push you out of the way up onto the middle line there, that he would be able to get away from you, but you did a fantastic job putting great defense there and you were able to lead the entire race first place and took home both wins tonight, Ron. Congratulations on winning round number 5, the Mountain Dew Modified Tour. Now, before I let you go here tonight and celebrate, is there anyone watching, anyone at home that you want to give a shout out to or thank before you head out?
Just Tanner, Andrew, David, I guess all the admins of this league, man, do a really good job of keeping it clean and came up with a good rule set to keep it fair and kind of weed out the guys who are crazy so we can come out here with 30 cars and put on, a 60-lap race with only a couple cautions. So a lot of fun to be able to race in a league like that.
Absolutely, Ron. Well, again, congratulations on winning round number 5, and thank you for coming out here and chatting with me in the booth once again here tonight. Ron, good luck in next week's race. You're going to be the shotgun driver for the first portion of that, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for you. Hopefully we'll be able to have a similar conversation next week. And yeah, good luck to you next week, and congratulations once again.
Hey, thanks, Mason. Have a good night, man.
You too. Thank you, Ron. All right, folks. Ron Hart in the 5-1 machine out of the booth. Our race winner for round number 5 of the Mountain Dew Modified Tour, proudly presented to you by Tagare Property Management. As always, my name is Mason Heimbaugh here with Team Goon Squad, bringing you tonight's action. I hope everyone has enjoyed. I know that I was certainly excited for this race. It was a lot of fun to watch and a lot of fun to commentate for. Now, before I let everyone go here and before we head out for the night, I would like to give a shout out to American Sim Racing Club for putting on this event and having Team Goon Squad broadcast it. If you would like to learn more information, look in the description of this video, and you will find the link to their website to check out more of their series, as well as see if it's something that you would like to be interested in doing yourself sometime in the future. And if you would like to pick up some American Sim Racing Club merchandise from Team Goon Squad, head on over to our website, teamgoonsquad.com, and get yourself some Team Goon Squad or American Sim Racing Club merchandise. Any American Sim Racing Club merchandise purchased through our website, 50% of the profits earned go right back to the league to support future endeavors and to keep the league going, to help do what they do. That is all I have for everyone here tonight. Again, thank you all for tuning in and watching tonight's broadcast. I hope you all enjoyed and look forward to the next one. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great night.
Driver Carrington